Hello, I'm Dr. Jyoti Mishra. I am an associate professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the University of California, San Diego. I'm also the co-director of the University of California-wide Climate Resilience Initiative, and you can check us out at climateresilience.online. And today, I want to tell you about some of my research and experiences with communities that have suffered from wildfires, particularly in California. We conducted an important study of the communities that were impacted by the 2018 Camp Fire, which still continues to be the deadliest wildfire in Californian history. During this wildfire, we found that people suffered from mental health distress, including symptoms of post traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression. So much so that even up to a year after the fires, we found that nearly 30 to 40% of the communities were impacted by these symptoms and were suffering from mental health distress. When we were working with these communities, we also were looking at protective factors that help us be resilient to these mental health risks. And in this work, we found that mindfulness is actually a really important trait that can protect well-being of our community members. We found that mindfulness, especially staying in the present moment, can be essential for us to not feel that mental health distress. And by mindfulness, I don't necessarily mean sitting in meditation in one spot. I mean staying in the present moment, being grateful for what we have now, appreciative for what we have now, and not letting the traumas of the past invade the present or the future. Our brains have these neural networks that are fundamental to our survival that help us plan for our futures and also assimilate our past lives. And that network is called the default mode network. And it so happens that when we suffer from mental health distress, then many studies, neuroscientific studies, have shown that the default mode network is overactive and it can really make us preferentially ruminate about our experiences, especially our negative experiences. Whereas when we practice mindfulness, this activation of the default mode network can be suppressed. So we can stay in the present moment, which is safe, which is enjoyable, which may be a place where we can be with our family members and not let the ruminations of our past selves invade into the present moment. And this can really help with loss and grief when we do not allow the traumas of the past to come into the present as well as the future. So, in this context, we studied mindfulness, and we also found that not just mindfulness, but alongside mindfulness, being physically healthy and having strong social connections with others is very important. And it was very heartening to see that in these same communities, there were some mindfulness practice activities that flourished and continue to flourish after the wildfires that help community members enhance their mental health and well-being. These community practices are fundamentally based around ecotherapy. Ecotherapy is also called forest bathing, and it's a practice that initially emerged in Japan in the 1980s to deal with the stressors of the modern world, especially by engaging with the natural environment in a mindful way. What that means is that we are able to attend to our natural environment with all of our senses. We can hear the birds chirp, or the trees that are grounded on the earth, or the leaves that are rustling, and we can feel with our feet the soft ground underneath. We can see the sunlight that is coming through the trees. We can smell the earth, especially when it rains. We can smell the goodness and the freshness of the earth, and we it can potentially also possibly taste the fruit of the forest. And so, with all of our fundamental senses of hearing and sight and touch and smell and taste, we can fully engage with nature and really engage in a way that we can be grateful for it, and look at even little objects like twigs as treasures that we cherish. They're treasures that are ephemeral, especially in the context of a climate disaster or a natural disaster. And to appreciate the presence of these basic natural objects is part of the ecotherapeutic process. And ecotherapies are usually led in groups, and groups practice mindfulness in nature together. And so they are especially helping communities build this mental health resilience to our changing climate. This practice can be especially beneficial because when climate disasters happen and we suffer from climate grief, then our relationships, our emotional relationships with the environment have a negative balance. We feel fearful of an environment that is otherwise safe and healthy and could be thriving, but we've had an experience that has been apocalyptic, such as in a wildfire or a flood, and that makes our brains fear any kind of nature. Our brains tend to overgeneralize and make us feel overly fearful of the natural world around us. And so this relationship needs to be reset, and the connection with nature needs to be revived in a way that it can promote our well being and enhance our mental health. And this is what nature based approaches and mindfulness and practicing mindfulness in nature can help us do. So, next time you're out there in nature, I really invite you to put your feet, your bare feet, on the ground, to recognize the beauty in the little blades of grass, in the beautiful flowers, in butterflies, in the hummingbirds and other birds that are chirping, or in the rays of the sunlight, and how unique a world that we live in on this planet. And that is a core part of nature based mindfulness. And we find that actually practicing such a nature based mindfulness can improve depression and anxiety and stress related outcomes, and can help us deal with climate grief. Thank you.